Sadhika.
I'm Radhika. Obsessed with glowing skin but overwhelmed with advice.
Tired of Instagram hacks that don't just work anymore?
Curious about Botox, fillers, serums but don't know what's legit anymore.
This episode cuts through the noise because on this episode we have with us a celebrity dermatologist, Dr. Chytra, who has treated everybody from brides to be to Bollywood stars and starlets. Dr. Chytra, welcome to South Delhi Girls podcast. We're very honored to have you here actually today.
Thank you so much, Sadhika and Radhika. It's lovely and a pleasure to be here.
Pleasure is ours. So, Doctor, we know a lot about you already. You are a celebrity dermatologist. You've been in the industry for 20 years. You're as good as it gets, but we'd love for you to introduce yourself to our audience. So
Sure,
please go ahead.
happy to. Hi, I'm Dr. Chytra V Anand. I'm a cosmetic dermatologist based in Bangalore. I am the founder of Kosmoderma Healthcare with 10 clinics across India. I'm also the founder and chief formulator of SkinQ, which is the world's first active skincare brand, which is clinically proven through clinical trials for skin of color and Indian skin. Along with this, I also sit as the solo woman member in the Karnataka Medical Council. Along with that, I'm an entrepreneur. And like every other woman in India, I'm a daughter, a wife, a daughter-in-law, and a mother.
Oh my God. Just listening to your introduction, I just feel so impressed because the society at large, starts telling women very early on that, you can't, if you this, you can't be that. But, here's a woman sitting right with us and, she is really like a testament that, you can do everything and you can do it while looking good and young. And that's exactly what we're going to talk about today in this episode.
Why not?
Yes.
What an introduction. So, Doctor, social media is flooded with ocean of knowledge and advice around skincare, hair care. But what it's also done is social media and our so-called skinfluencers have gotten us believing that unless we're doing a 10-care skincare routine with red light therapy, hair mask every day, we're not doing enough. And the reality is that the everyday woman does not have the time or sometimes even money and energy to be doing that kind of extensive routine every single day.
Let's start with when you said there's a lot of knowledge. There isn't knowledge. There's just a lot of noise on social media. Let's do that, okay? And why is there so much? Because we're consuming content and it has to be entertaining. It has to have a shock value. If I was giving you scientific facts, it's very dry and boring. I'm not going to get your attention. So everything there is for attention gathering. So let's discredit that, right? Skin influencers, there's good and there's bad. There's a lot of them that do good work, but there's equally that many who are just saying whatever and they're copycat phenomenon. So I always say this, right? Skin is the largest organ in our body.
Yeah.
It's also our first immune barrier. There are times where I've diagnosed cancer on my patients just looking at their skin signs. That's how important your skin health is. It's not, I'll put a little bit of makeup, I'll put a little bit of this cream, that serum, oh my gosh, there's an offer on this, buy 2, get 4 free, I'll use this. It's not that, it's an organ. And I always tell this to my patients when they ask me, if you are having a heart attack, are you going to scroll through Instagram and say, what are the hacks for a heart attack? Not at all. So why is it okay for you to tamper with your skin when it's the largest organ in your body? So let's start with that.
Yes, and actually very well spoken, and just to sort of add to what you've just what you said about you having had detected skin cancer just by looking at signs of maybe an unhealthy skin health. So maybe we can start by asking you that are there particular signs that distinguish what is good skin health and what is bad skin health? Like are there early signs that we as normal people can sort of look at and know that okay, my skin is doing well right now and my skin is something is wrong with it?
Great question, Sadhika. The first indicator is when you wash your face. If you just wash your face with water, and maybe if you want to use like a cleanser, a pH balance cleanser, or even if you just wash it with water in the morning, and the skin just feels fine. You don't feel that pull, the tightness, the dryness after, and you can go without using a moisturizer. That is healthy skin.
Wow.
That's the goal, right? So how do you get there? Not everybody has it. So that's normal skin, right?
Yeah.
So that's like your North Pole or your North Star.
Right.
You have to get there. So that takes work because people are either on the dry side, they're on the oily side, combination,
Yeah.
or people will say sensitive skin. There's no skin type called sensitive skin. Sensitive skin is sensitive because your skin is crying for help. It's saying, please help me. And you're like, oh yeah, let me put some moisturizer, let me put some serum, let me do this. And you're like, excuse me, sensitive skin is not a skin type. So I think that's what it is. And it doesn't have to be 10-step, 5-step, etc. It's really simple. All you need, okay, a basic skincare routine to cut through all the noise is just 4 steps. That's it.
Okay.
Something to cleanse your skin, something to protect your skin barrier, and something to repair if you have a concern, and something to protect. That's it. It's only 4 steps. What do you cleanse with? That's critical. It's not soap. It's not like, oh, I love this soap. It smells so good, and I got it at this flavored shop, etc. pH balanced cleanser or a soap-free cleanser.
Right.
That's what it is. The reason is your skin is acidic by nature. The acidity of your skin maintains the immunity of your skin. So what happens? Let's go to chemistry class. You take soap, alkali, you put it to acid. You neutralize the acidity.
Yes, yes.
If your skin barrier is if your skin is neutralized, the barrier breaks. If barrier breaks, you're going to let all the bacteria, virus, fungi attack you. The pollution gets through, free radical damage, and worse, you'll dehydrate because if there's no skin barrier, you'll leak water from your skin. All right? So that's the first step.
Right.
Cleanse, pH balance cleanser. Second, if you're going to use something to nourish, right? That's your skin barrier.
Right.
Moisturizer. But it's not like just about aloe vera or anything. Your skin is a combination of oil and water, and they don't mix, so they form a film on your skin. As dermatologists, we always talk about acid mantle or hydrolipid barrier, water and fat, because they're not mixing, right?
Yeah.
It comes from your sweat glands and from your oil glands. So being healthy on the inside, like you were talking about, your diet matters, because if you're not producing enough oil, you're drying out. If you're not drinking enough water, you're drying out.
Right.
So that makes. So we're talking about ceramides, hyaluronic acid, sodium hyaluronate in a moisturizer to moisturize your skin.
Got it.
The next one, if you have a problem, it could be acne, pigmentation, dry, dehydrated skin, then you'll use something to repair that. Otherwise, you don't need to. It's just cleanse and moisturize. Then the most critical component, protection. And what are we protecting against? Sun damage.
Yeah.
The biggest enemy to our skin is sun, UV radiation, actually. 90% of the damage that happens to our skin is because of UV radiation. So SPF, what we say, or sunscreen, right?
Yeah.
That's the most critical step. I don't know if you know this, but 95% of Indian women, by the time they're 50, will suffer with dark spots, hyperpigmentation.
Yes.
Mainly because they didn't protect themselves in their teenagers and 20s and 30s. And if they just used a right sunscreen, they will never get that pigmentation spot.
Wow.
Yeah. So that's it, right? I broke it down. Cleanser, a good moisturizer, which is skin barrier, and your protection. That's your daytime. What do you do in the night? Cleanse and moisturize. Over. That's it.
That's it.
That's it.
Wow.
But invest into products that have data behind, not because a skin influencer said, not because the advertisement was
Yeah,
good, or
there's
not
an offer
because
going
there's
on.
an offer, etc. Your skin doesn't care if there's an offer, right?
Yeah.
I mean, you're not going to go and get like a surgery for your, let's say you had cataract or something. You're not going to get a cataract surgery because someone gave you an offer, right?
Yeah.
You're going to go and find out who's doing the right work and who's
And if you
trained
need
for
it,
it.
yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
You're not going to walk into a shop and say, oh, I was passing by, I thought I'll have a cataract surgery. So how are you passing by and thought you'll have some skin procedure?
Yeah.
Doctor, we'd love for you to tell us if this routine should change if you're in your 20s, 30s, 40s.
Yeah.
And if yes, then how?
Great question. It should, because you're changing. Every 28 days, you get fresh new skin.
Okay.
So your skin changes every 28 days. And as we get older, now when does aging start? At 25.
Are you serious? My skin is 4 years old already. Oh my god, I don't like that.
All right. Well, I'm 48, right? So But the thing is, it doesn't matter. It's just a number at the end of the day, right, girls? I mean, really, come on. Do you ever feel like your actual numerical age? No. It's a matter
that's
of your fitness and where you are in your emotional state
Yeah.
and how healthy you are.
Yeah.
Really. So let's come back to the previous
Yes.
question. In your 20s, right? Early 20s, your skin is taking care of itself provided you're healthy, right? Till 25, your skin will produce all that is needed because your body is still making growth hormone. So you're in a growth stage. After 25 is when the aging starts setting in. But the good thing about Indian skin is we all have color, right? Pigment in our skin. So it really protects us from a lot of the damage, which let's say Caucasian or Korean, Japanese skin doesn't get.
Yeah.
So we don't age like them. But what we get is spots,
Yeah.
pigmentation, blemishes, etc. So till 25, you cleanse, moisturize if required. If you have the dryness feeling, moisturize. And definitely non-negotiable is sunscreen.
Right.
So a lot of my teenagers and my 20-year-olds will say, Doc, we'll just do one thing. I'm like, okay, just wash with water and please use sunscreen 2 times a day. At breakfast, like, or when you brush your teeth, put it on, and then reapply at lunch hour. That's all I ask them to
Right.
do. But at 25, you may see changes happening. So you either will start getting a little drier or, something else happens, like oily breakouts, etc. If that's happening, then you invest into a serum that treats this. So you've got your cleanse, moisturizer, sunscreen, and now you've got one more serum that you've added.
Yeah.
You can add it in the day or you can add it in night. Now let's say that you have a family history of getting pigmentation. You want to use a vitamin C serum in the daytime. All right, and in the night you'll use like a hydrating serum if required, or you just use a moisturizer which has everything built in.
Right.
By your 30s, you slowly start seeing changes in your estrogen for women.
Yeah.
Men don't see it, but women will see it, right? So that means you're starting to get a little bit more drier. So this is when you're going to add the hydration element. Sodium hyaluronate and hyaluronic acid, 2 molecules.
Right.
Hyaluronic acid, everybody says hyaluronic acid, hyaluronic acid. It's a large molecule. It sits on the surface of your skin. But the sodium hyaluronate is the smaller molecule, penetrates deeper. So you want a combination of both on the surface and on the
inside.
deeper.
Right.
Because on the surface, it's just surface, right? You need to go inside to the living part of your skin to actually impact for long health. That's what you will add. By your mid 30s to 40s, add a peptide or a retinol to your skincare.
Okay.
Along the way, let's say you acquired, it could be your teenage years, 20s, 30s, you got acne, then you'll use something for acne. If you acquired pigmentation, then you'll use something for pigmentation. But that's it.
All right.
All right? But coming to your mid 30s, you may want to invest into oral nutraceuticals also.
Okay.
Because estrogen changes are happening, so your skin barrier gets a little bit more broken. So people talk about sensitivity, little redness or flare-ups, etc. It's a lot to do with free radical damage. So you want to have antioxidants. So you can actually think about oral supplementation, but on the advice of a doctor. But that's it.
That's fairly simple and also easy to follow, and it's not very overwhelming, which social media
Absolutely, because
does.
social media makes you feel like if you're not doing so many things and you're not doing something right.
Yeah.
Right?
A lot of times people talk about layering because you'll find one serum which has one hyaluronic acid. Then you'll have another serum that has sodium hyaluronate. You'll have another serum that has niacinamide. So you're putting one layer of this, one layer of this one. So look for multi-actors. I mean, you guys are working girls. I'm a working person. We don't have the time to sit there and layer 10 things on our face, right? We have deadlines to meet and we have things to do. And so with that, all you want to do is, you shouldn't be spending more than 2 minutes in the morning and more than 2 minutes at night on your skincare.
That really makes life easy because at this point, I think I'm at that point in my career where I have to schedule even a mental breakdown. When something goes wrong at work, I just have to put it in my calendar that, maybe I have 10 minutes over there, so maybe I can sit and rant, or maybe I can call, Radhika and just be like, okay, I have 5 minutes, can you quickly listen? So I think this really helps a lot of women out there on a practical front.
Yes. Is glass skin even a thing?
Yeah, it's a filter.
Thank you.
Glass skin is great. All of us look like we have glass skin, but we're in a studio with perfect lighting,
Yes.
Yeah.
right? So you can have glass skin when you have perfect lighting, when you have filters, or right after a photo facial for the next 30 minutes to 60 minutes. But that's about it. It's not real.
Right.
A real skin has pores, it has texture, but it's healthy and glowing and supple.
Because, I think in this day and age, I think airbrushing has made people a little for the lack of a better word, cuckoo, you know,
Yeah.
about what is real and what is not real. Because when we look at actresses and when we look at influencers and we look at their skin and we look at those videos, you know, which capture them
Yeah.
flawlessly, we just, you know, we look at our skin in a mirror and we feel really bad about ourselves. And that builds a lot of pressure on ourselves, and mostly it's self-inflicted. But it's great to know that, you know, even those people may have pores and it's a real
Yeah.
thing and it's fine.
And the fact that
Everybody
people-
has pores. If you don't have pores, you're like either a doll or you're like dead.
Yeah, and also because, you know, I feel we've been sold this idea also that you
Yeah.
can have a glass skin. The fact that it's real and it's
Yeah.
attainable, which is why somehow we're all running towards that fantasy which will never turn to reality, and we just feel there's something wrong with us, or we're not buying the right products, or we're not taking the right care of ourselves. And,
Peer
thank
pressure.
you.
Peer pressure. And also I think Instagram, because I remember there was this entire trend where glass skin, like Korean, you know,
Yes.
skincare and glass skin, and
Yes.
puts nail mucin, if that's what it's called,
Yeah.
like, you know, on your skin, and this is how you'll achieve any of that. And we wouldn't understand what that is. And later on I also found out what snail mucin is. So I was like, no, not for me.
Yeah, and when even people say, "Can I get Korean glass skin?" I'm like, "Sure, if you're Korean, let's work on it." Yeah.
Makes sense.
Makes sense, makes perfect sense.
But you know, I've lectured extensively in Korea and trained doctors there too. And did you know that in Korea they have something called a beauty break? So women actually get 4 hours of paid leave every month to go to their skin clinics. They can go to their aesthetic doctor or their dermatologist and actually get their skin fixed. And because that is part of their life, right?
Wow.
Like here now, working out is part of our lives.
Yeah.
Thankfully, finally, right? Working out has become a
yes.
culture now for
Yes.
us. Similarly, in Korea, they're way ahead. And what they do is taking care of their skin once a month for 4 hours. They actually have a structured beauty leave, which is a paid leave.
Oh my God, I love it.
Wow.
Yeah. I
Let's
think-
move to Korea?
Yes, let's do that.
But you know what? That's actually
You're
such an
vegetarian,
eye-opener.
not happening.
I'll call you from there. I'll send you a postcard.
No, but seriously, you know, because we look at Koreans and we're like, okay, you know, this is what we want, and you know, if we buy their products,
Yeah.
we go visit Korean, buy, you know, get a haul, we get this, but you know, we're not putting in that kind of effort, and that's not the culture also we live in. So it's absolutely stupid to, you know, kind of live to that expectation, or
Yeah, the
And
skin
even the
type is
genetics,
different.
yes, yes.
Genetics is different. The diet is different. Environment is different. Weather conditions are different.
Yeah.
So where, other than us all being humans or Homo sapiens, there's nothing.
Yeah. You know, at this point, I'm very tempted to ask that what's the best skincare routine for people in Delhi? Just because of the pollution levels.
Yeah, so I think in Delhi, definitely invest into an antioxidant serum in the daytime, like a vitamin C, but a good vitamin C, like a L-ascorbic acid, 15% minimum, is ideal. And look that it has ferulic acid built into it and other stuff around it is great. You'll find a lot of vitamin C serums, but look for data that talks about how pure the vitamin C is and what's the actual effect. Just because something has vitamin C, you don't know if it's really effective. So you need
Yeah.
95% plus activity after it's on your skin. All right. So
Right.
look for those kind of data. Use that and sunscreen. That's good. And then also look at taking oral antioxidants. Right. Like I know that you guys are still in your 20s, but it's not too late because you are getting damaged by the pollution. And
Yeah.
today we see a lot of skin damage happening because of the external environment that we're in, right?
Yeah.
Like many people will tell me that in our Delhi clinic, many people say, oh, my mom has great skin, my grandma had great skin, they still have thick hair, but I'm losing hair, it's thinning, or I'm getting breakouts, nobody in my family had it. It's because the pollution was not the same that time. And it's not just the pollution, even like our groundwater is polluted, right? Like when we drink water, there's plasticine in it. And that's, again, it's not normal for our body to metabolize plasticine. So that causes changes, which is never good, right?
Yeah.
Because it's reactive. And so all of this, so oral antioxidants are really good. Like it could be just vitamin C is an antioxidant, glutathione, astaxanthin, alpha lipoic acid, curcumin, turmeric, that's fantastic. All of these are great. Lycopene from tomato. There's enough data and studies behind it, but speak to your doctor. And the other thing I want to stress upon is vitamin D and B complex. Like Indians, as genetically, we are prone to vitamin D deficiency. At least 80% of the population is vitamin D deficient. And
Yes.
if you are, it doesn't matter what you're doing, what you're applying, your skin has no ability to heal. So make sure your vitamin D is at optimum levels always, and your B complex is great, your iron is great, because those are the three basic foundation, right?
Yeah.
Then you build upon it.
Yeah.
When your foundation is weak, it doesn't matter what you're doing, it's not going to work.
Yeah.
And most women are anemic also. So
Yes, they are. And they don't realize it. They'll just think, I'm just feeling so tired. I'm feeling so lethargic. I feel dull. Or they feel like I'm not motivated enough.
Yeah.
And that's also a sign of anemia, right?
Yeah. I've been actually dealing with anemia for years now, and no matter what I do, like I have to take supplements to fix it. Otherwise, no matter how much I change my diet, it just doesn't.
Yeah, because it's not enough to change a diet when you're deficient.
Yeah.
When you're healthy, you have a good diet, it'll maintain.
Oh, okay.
But when you're deficient, you have to correct the deficiency.
Yeah.
That's what people don't realize, right? If you're deficient, you make your lifestyle changes, that's not going to correct it.
Yeah.
Correct yourself, come to the baseline,
And then-
modify at the
Right,
same
right,
time.
right.
That'll maintain you there.
Yeah.
But when you're deficient, you have to. It's like, think about it, right? You're going on the road and there's like a
Pothole.
How is that pothole? Something has to fill it, right?
Yeah.
So that filling is your correction, right? Your supplements, or if you're really anemic, even in a hospital, you get IV iron, but only in hospitals and stuff like that. And fix it, then do your lifestyle.
Makes sense. Doctor, now I'd love to move on to this thing. So 2020, COVID struck.
Yes.
And post-pandemic, we all saw levels of hair fall we'd never seen before. It's inexplicable, and it's happening to both men and women. So what is happening to our scalps post-pandemic?
It's normal. Anytime you get an infection, right? The body will make sure that all the nutrients go to all your main organs, like your heart, your liver, your brain, etc. And then if there's anything left over, it'll go to what's called the end organs, which is your hair, nails, and skin. So you're not getting enough nutrition there. And then the stress of the COVID itself.
Yeah.
Whenever there's stress, it increases your stress hormones, right? Like cortisol and stuff. So the environment inside your body is not homogeneous. So with that stress impacts everything. So the blood flow to the scalp decreases, etc. Hair is not getting nutrition, so it's going to fall and it's going to shed. It's called telogen effluvium. It happens not just after COVID, but anytime somebody falls ill with fever, or if they have a surgery, or post-pregnancy, etc. It's normal. In fact, there was a big study which was done and published in the Journal of American Academy of Dermatology, which actually linked the COVID virus with exaggerated hair loss because it was stressful. And if you got COVID, your body was drained.
Yes.
People took time to recover from COVID. So that's why. But the good thing about telogen effluvium is the hair does grow back, but you have to be nutritionally correct.
Oh, damn.
Now, very few people are. So that's why they face long-term hair loss. But if you correct the nutrition within that 4 months when you're having the shedding, the hair will grow back. And you can always seek out treatments at your doctor's office. You can have like PRP, growth factor, concentrate treatments. You can have exosomes, and that'll help grow your hair back. It's just once a month over 4 to 6 months, and it'll grow back.
Right. And that's actually very, it sounds very hopeful.
Yeah.
Because I know so many women, and including myself, and I think Radhika also, because we've, spent hours talking about it on phone at nights that, somehow we had like a head full of hair, and it looks like we still do, but, somehow for a lot of women, the texture also changed.
Yes.
For example, I've always had smooth, silky hair, but my hair quality has always been thin, right? But I experienced excessive thinning. I experienced, like hair loss to the point where there were times where I was taking a shower and I legit had, like doubts that, do I have cancer or something?
No,
What is
people
happening
would say,
with
I
me?
don't want to
Like the
have a
post-chemo
hair.
effect.
Yeah.
They were like, I don't want to have a shower because when I do so much of my hair's
Yes.
coming, they were scared to have a bath.
Yeah.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
this actually gives me a lot of
And
hope.
so actually I was going to ask that like 4-5 years since the pandemic, and we're still facing this, but then you answered that before.
nutrition.
That the nutrition bit is the concern right now.
Because see, for your hair, you need iron. everybody says biotin, 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 but just biotin on its own is not going to do anything. You need iron, right? Then you need different multivitamins, right? Your D, B complexes, etc. Then you need trace elements. You need zinc. You need manganese, and then you need amino acids and protein. You need all of this. So whenever somebody has a hair fall, they're like, "Yeah, I'm taking biotin or I'm taking iron tablet," and I'm like, "Okay, what about the rest?"
Yes,
Alright.
that makes sense.
So one solution is to correct your nutritional deficiencies. The other, if somebody wants to take a in clinical
Yes. Procedure.
treatment.
Yeah.
See, if you're having excessive hair shedding, you must get your hair tested and get the nutrition program, plus start the treatment. At least minimum 6 sessions, once every month. That's all. You don't have to do it every 2 weeks and all that. It's
Right.
excessive. Once in 4 weeks. If you do this, you can ensure that your hair grows back. And you were talking about thinning of the hair and
Yeah.
also frizziness. A lot of people talked
Yes.
about frizzy
Yeah.
hair.
Yes.
Frizzy hair happens because you're not getting enough. Think about it. Oil in your diet, right?
Makes sense.
You need that. So your scalp is getting drier, so it starts getting more flaky. So it's not able to absorb the nutrition, and so the hair gets frizzier because it's not getting the nutrition. So vitamin E and fruits and vegetables which have high fat content like avocado, butterfruit, etc. are
Right.
excellent, or walnuts, flax seeds, etc. Very good to use during those periods. And thinning of hair. Now thinning can be partly nutritional, but it's also hormonal. So when people are stressed out, the stress impacts all of the hormones in the body. And also vitamin D deficiency impacts your thyroid gland. And if you're not producing enough thyroid, then it also leads to thinning of your hair.
Yeah, that makes sense. And also that, brings me to sort of want to understand that just how much of these things are related. For example, how is skin health really related to, say, stress, to, skin, like to stress, to hormones, and to all, like, how do all of these other factors come into the mix when it comes to skin health? Because clearly it's not just the vitamins and not the
Yeah.
minerals, right? Stress has to play a factor, and hormones have to play a factor, and I'm sure other things also have to play a factor. Sleep has to play
Yeah.
a factor.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, when I think about it, like if we talk about skin health, it's multifactorial, right? Sleep, diet and nutrition, your mental state. So, if you're stressed out, that'll impact. Now, how does it impact? When the body is in a state of stress, it's a state of down depression. It puts a brake on everything. So that means if there's a brake, it's a brake on all of the production of the good things in your body. So it slows down and makes it sluggish for your cell turnover. I told you get new skin every 28 days.
Yeah.
So instead of 28 days, it becomes 30, 35 days. And people say, Acha, it's only 1 day or 2 day. When your life cycle only is 28 days and you've lost 1 day, that's a huge impact, right? And that's when people will start saying, my skin is looking dull, my pores have become large, I'm starting to see sag, fine lines, because the turnover is not happening quick enough. All right? Because the sluggishness has set in because of the stress, because it's a downturn. Second, it reduces the production of your good hormones, right? In women, it's your estrogen. Women also produce some amount of testosterone, which contributes to the oil. So even that, and then thyroid, which is the master hormone, all of this. And if you're really stressed out, then it brings out the cortisol, which increases. The moment cortisol increases, everything goes haywire. You start seeing all of this. So when you are in a state of stress, because of the hormone changes, you'll get acne and breakouts. And sometimes the imbalance between the estrogen and testosterone causes oiliness, clogging. So that's why the acne. Second, you'll also start seeing thinning of the hair. Then you'll start seeing pigment patches coming up, typically on the cheek
Yeah.
and nose area in women.
Yeah.
And men start getting pigmentation around this area more commonly. They also get acne breakouts and stuff. So you'll see all of these changes that's happening. And somebody who could come out of their room without any makeup and still look healthy, fresh, now suddenly feels like I can't step out without makeup because my skin is not looking fresh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's how it impacts.
Yes.
And finally impacts the rest of your body. And then your mind. And then it's all down.
Yeah, that makes stress that makes sense. Because stress. Yeah, because a lot of times, there are moments where we're self-aware. We feel like, yes, we're stressing. We're aware that, okay, now we're stressing. And then we start stressing about the stress and we
Yeah.
want to bring it down, but it's just a vicious loop.
Yeah.
Yeah, and
So-
in the meantime, one pimple has, emerged.
And that's why exercise also, we should talk about it, right? An active lifestyle. When I
Yeah.
say exercise, one doesn't necessarily have to hit the gym. You just need to be an active lifestyle because you need to get that blood rush running through your organs and you need to get a little bit of cardiovascular going, maybe muscle, etc. But that's also important, right? It's a trifecta of everything.
Yeah, absolutely. In fact, 2 years ago, I was facing a lot of hair fall and I got scared. So I went to a dermatologist and she got several blood tests done to check my
Yeah.
nutrition levels. And when she gave me all the medicines and the serums and creams to apply, one thing she wrote in her list was deep breathing and slow yoga.
Yes.
And I was mega impressed, firstly, because how often do you see doctors actually encouraging you to live a healthy life along with taking meds
Yeah.
and whatever. And then I asked her, the doctor, why? And she was like, you have high levels of insulin. The more you stress, your cortisol increases, your insulin increases, you'll have all this blackishness on
Yes.
your face. And I'd love to, I'm talking about this, but because I would love for the viewers to know that even doctors
Yes.
are validating this. Stress and bad lifestyle, it really impacts our skin. So no matter how much we put on our face and our hair and how many supplements we take, we have to live a good life and have a decent state of mind. At least try.
It's true.
So-
I mean, after UV radiation, the second biggest negative impact on us is stress.
Wow.
Yeah, for skin. But overall, in terms of the entire body and entire, the mind-body philosophy, stress is the number one denominator, right, for everything and stuff. And your doctor was right about giving you the deep breathing and pranayama and everything.
Yeah.
The reason is that when you do deep breathing, you're actually oxygenating, right? When you're oxygenating, you're bringing more oxygen. And also that will give you some calm time, like the 10 minutes that you schedule
Yes.
out.
I mean, I don't know about my skin and hair, but my life's changed. My temperament has completely changed. I was a very aggressive, impulsive person. Like I wouldn't think before speaking, and now I'm like the complete opposite person. Sadhika was the opposite. I was the aggressive one, and she was the calm one. And now there are times when Sadhika comes, she's like, "How did you deal with this situation so calmly?" And I'm like, "It's years of deep breathing, and although you just take 2 minutes out in a day, it has such." Magnanimous and compound effect. It's crazy. It's crazy.
If I was being mean, I could say, is it breathing or is it aging?
I think it's both.
Oh my god, my ribs hurt. It was such a good joke. My ribs hurt.
So I have a friend who's probably in his early 30s. He's probably 30, 31. And I've known him for a couple of years. Even back in the day when he was like mid-20s for that matter, he had a lot of premature graying, right? And I see that with a lot of guys and also women. I see a lot of women who are probably in their 20s, late 20s, early 30s. But when you look at them from afar, you would probably, gauge them to be in their 40s,
Yeah.
because you see so many gray hair. And recently he's just gotten engaged or married, I don't know, one of the things. And now his entire head is full of gray hair. And it really makes me wonder that is it like what really leads to premature graying? What is happening there? Is it bad hair health, or is it just cultural or environmental factors that are leading into it?
Great question. It's actually on the rise. And a lot of it is genetics, honestly. If you're genetically prone, you're going to get premature graying. But we're seeing a lot more that's non-genetic now, and that has to do with the environmental pollution and stress and nutrition deficiency. Zinc is one of the culprits in that. And people don't really think about zinc in their diet. So zinc deficiency can lead to this. So correcting the deficiency will help recover some of it and prevent future graying. But once you've gone gray, it's really hard to get the colors. Till now, we don't have any technology or any lotion, potion, nothing that can stop your graying.
Really? So there's no way to sort of reverse it?
No, there isn't. So once you go gray, it's really, really hard to reverse, because once you go gray, you've lost the melanin that's the pigment, right? And that's a destruction. It's not possible to reconstruct it. So the moment you start seeing graying, always just check whether it's nutritional. Unless you have a genetic history, then it's bad genes. Nothing can be done. But you never know. In 10 years, we may have an injection to just change your gene, right? We could switch off that. But right now, nothing. But nutritional, it plays a big role too.
And like you suggested, that zinc is
Yes.
probably important for it. So are there any food items that we can include in our diet naturally for that? Or should you go for
It
supplements?
has to be a supplement. You're never going to eat enough of that to ever make a dent in that.
I get
So
it.
you need to supplement.
So somebody who doesn't have enough graying yet can take zinc and prevent it, but
Yes.
somebody who already has graying will either stay with gray hair or will have to color them,
Yes,
right?
they will. And they can take the supplements to ensure more doesn't
Oh,
happen,
okay.
right?
Okay,
Because it's not
okay.
like
Makes sense.
overnight they go gray. It starts in bunches, right? And so you want to stop that right there.
Right. That's a fantastic
This is one thing
solution
that
to
you
the
see the
problem.
gray, fix it right away. You don't have time. I always tell this to my patients with skin, we still have some time to fix it, right? Even people live with acne for years, pigment for years, but we can still sort it out. But your hair, we only get about 4 to 6 months to fix it. And if we don't fix in that time, it's really hard to get it back.
Wow.
Oh, damn.
Yeah.
All right. So, doctor, speaking of hair, I would love to pick this up. So, thanks to social media, everybody wants to look glam. A lot more people are in more glamorous fields than ever, say podcast influencers, blah, blah, blah. And looking good and always being with styled hair has sort of become indispensable now. So, are we dyeing and heating our hair to death?
I think one should
Yeah.
always look their best. I'm a big proponent of look good, feel good. In fact, I did a
Absolutely.
TED talk all about it. But are we heating ourselves to death? Well, if you're not using heat protector serums, yes, you are. Look, your hair is protein at the end of it, right? Keratin. And there is a sealant on it which protects the moisture in your hair, which is why you don't get frizzy. But when you put heat and then you do a lot of these treatments, right, like bonding and all of that, there's a lot of break.
Yeah.
So you need to use bond protectors. You need to use like extra deep conditioning treatments. And if you're doing heating, then use the heat protector serums, because once you do that, it forms a coat. Then when you heat, that coat destroys, but not your hair. So you can do that. And styling is part of our lives. I mean, look, everybody gets their hair styled.
Yeah.
Very few people just have naturally great hair. And you see them even in their 70s, especially look towards Hollywood, right? People are still styling their hair and they still have a crop of hair on their head.
Yeah,
So it's just be smart about how you do it. And
Okay.
when you have things to protect, use that. Don't be lazy.
Okay. And do protectants work?
Yes, they do.
Yeah?
Heat protectants work, and right after that, if you're doing like in your case, right, if you're shooting like 4 or 5 days a
Yeah.
week, you got to style your hair every day. That's
Yes.
5 days of heat on your hair.
Yeah.
So you use the hair protectant and ensure that you're doing like a deep conditioning treatment at least once a week to restore that, because it's all about conditioning and nourishing it. Remember, hair is dead, right? The only living
Yeah.
part is your scalp. All
Yeah.
of this is just dead.
Yes.
So all you have to do is make sure that the film stays intact. It's not like giving nourishment and nutrition here is going to help anything. It's just
Yeah.
about keeping away the frizz so that it doesn't break. You don't want the hair to break. It'll break when there's no moisture. And heat removes moisture. It's as
Yeah.
simple as that.
And how do you deep condition?
There are deep conditioning treatments, right, that salons offer.
Okay.
So you can definitely get those done.
All right.
Yeah.
So like hair spas and all?
Yeah, exactly.
Perfect,
Hair spas
perfect.
are great, and you can do them at home too. It doesn't have to be in a salon, but you can do all of that and make sure nutritionally you're fine. And then you can use peptide serums on your scalp to ensure, because peptides are nothing but like growth factors, right? Like how you use peptides on your skin. Scalp is also skin. So when you use the peptides, it increases the blood circulation. When you increase the blood circulation, nourishment comes to the hair root. So the entire hair gets coated. So you can do that.
Right.
Perfect.
Yeah.
Okay, so I think hair is a hair bit of salt that's taken care of, and we finally have the solution, and that's good news for us. So the next question, doctor. So I have seen the internet split into two halves when it comes to sunscreens. So half of the internet is like, sunscreen is a man-made initiative to keep us sick and spending. It keeps us from the most essential source of vitamin D, right? And it gives that film. And there's a lot of theory around it that it's wrong, and it's like everybody was fine until sunscreens were invented, and now look at us now. We are all vitamin D deficient, and we are all struggling with health. And it was actually, there's like a very controversial theory
Yeah.
behind it. And then there's another half of the internet which is like, oh my god, sunscreen is food. You can't go without sunscreen even a single day. So what side are you on? What side does science back? I
Right.
would love to know that.
I'm so glad you asked me this question because, like I told you, the one thing non negotiable for me is the use of sunscreen, a good sunscreen for all of my patients. And anybody asks me anytime, I'm like, even if you don't do anything ever, just at least use a good sunscreen. Let's break it down. Yes, sure. Like, in the past, they didn't use sunscreens, etc. But they didn't have the kind of UV radiation, environmental pollution that we have today, right? I mean, they didn't even have lung diseases. They didn't have the risk of cancer like we have today. Everything's on the rise, all the negative stuff, right? Because of all of the pollution and everything. The same thing impacts us. Now, let's break that down. Ozone layer protects. But the ozone layer is depleting.
Yes.
So why do Australians have the highest incidence of cancer? Because the ozone layer is depleted. When that's depleted, the UV radiation hits you.
Yes.
The only time you don't need to use a sunscreen is if you're a vampire living in a dungeon. That's it. Otherwise, if there is daylight, even if you're indoors and there's a window and light is coming through, you need to use that sunscreen. People who are prone, like Indians, are prone to pigmentation. You're standing in front of the stove and cooking. The infrared light from there can also trigger pigmentation, the heat of it. So that's a different protectant.
Right.
But blue light, right? Our TV screens, our mobiles, etc., computer, iPads, devices emit blue light. It's low. But let's say that you already have a propensity for hyperpigmentation, or you're like perimenopausal as a woman, or menopausal, or you're going through IVF treatments and you're high on hormones, then you become super sensitive to just that blue light.
Wow.
Right now, we're in optimum health, we're not sensitive. But when we're not in optimum health, we become sensitive even to that. So that's why it's important. Now, why is sunscreen critical? 90% of the damage that happens to our skin is because of UV radiation. And it breaks down the collagen at a faster pace. It makes our elastin weaker. Then it triggers off hyperpigmentation. These are the three things that happen. So spottiness, open pores, which everybody hates, sagging, lines, wrinkles. All of this is because of this. We don't have to worry so much about skin cancer like the Western population because we already have pigment. The pigment we have in our skin gives us a SPF of 5 to 10 inherently as
Wow,
Indians. We already have that. You lesser because you're lighter shaded, but the rest of us are duskier, more pigmentation protection. But that's not enough. On a daily basis, you need a SPF 40 plus on your face. Okay? The reason being is when we talk about sunscreen and it's tested in a lab, it's tested as 5 grams, right? Which is like what, 1 teaspoon worth of product is tested for the strength. Who uses 1 teaspoon? Even I don't as a
Yeah.
dermatologist.
Yeah.
None of us use. We actually use like half of it, right? Like
Yes.
maybe 1.5, 2 ml, 2.5 ml for your face and neck. So literally you're already halving the SPF. And just having a SPF is not enough. A sun protection has to protect you against UVA and UVB and UVC, right? So it has to have SPF, which can be like worst case minimum is 30, maximum you need is 50.
40. Okay,
but
50.
on a daily basis, 40, brilliant. Plus it has to have something called a PA rating. So that comes as a plus. So it's plus, 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 plus.
Right, I've seen
Right,
that
right,
on
right, right.
bottles.
Exactly.
Yes.
So that's the broad spectrum sunscreen where you're protecting against UVA and UVB, both. All right?
Perfect.
And the pluses have to be at least 3 plus for it to be protecting.
Got
So
it.
these are the 2 factors you have to look at. Then you can also look at blended sunscreens. Today there are sunscreens which have built-in antioxidants in them, like vitamin C. So already the sun hits us, it emits free radicals, and that's the damage that causes a tan. The tan is bad because tan is chemical damage. It's a way that your skin protects. It's not because we don't want to be dark, we want to be fair, none of that nonsense. It's really because tan means it's a chemical damage to your skin. Your skin becomes inflamed, it increases the production of your pigment cells, and that gives you the tan. So tan is a chemical damage.
Oh, wow. I did not know that.
So one of the ways to do that is to use sunscreen, but you'll still get it, a tan even with sunscreen, because no sunscreen is 100%. It's only 96 to 97.5% max. So having something with a built-in vitamin C will also start the protection, right, repair right away. So the free radical damage with the antioxidants gets work. Or you put a vitamin C serum and then your sunscreen if you want to layer it. So that is what one needs to do. Coming down to vitamin D. Vitamin D is not made on our face and neck, right? Which is our most common areas of sun exposure. That's why if you see people get pigmentation here, and here, right? Because this is what hits when light hits you. Or if they're riding bikes, it's on the arms, right? So you get vitamin D by exposure to early morning sun, ideally, from the thicker bones in your body, like your forearms, your hair, and stuff like that. And your skin will automatically make vitamin D. Why are people getting more deficient? Because our nutrition in our food has gone down, because there's pollution in the
Chemicals
soil.
and also, yes.
Exactly.
Adulteration.
Adulteration. So we're not getting enough nutrients in our food itself. Just the source of food itself is poor. And then when the UV radiation comes, I mean the sun comes, there's so much pollution, right? It's disrupting the sun that's getting into our body. And then you're not optimum, so there's always some deficiency, so you're not able to produce it. So that's why genetically Indians, now it's known that we have a deficiency in vitamin D, even though we're in the sun all the time. Right? And it's not like you put sunscreen and you don't get vitamin D, because you put your sunscreen and you're going out, you're still getting the sun exposure. And a lot of people will just put it on their face. You have to put it on the face, your neck, a little bit on their ears, exposed parts. And if you're one of those people who's going to be out in the sun and stuff, then you put it on your arms and exposed areas on a daily basis. When you're on the beach, or if you're going trekking, hiking, you're going to be in the snow, skiing, anywhere, because that has higher reflection, sand and snow, right? Or if you go in the higher peak, you're closer to the radiation.
Absolutely.
You need to use sports sunscreen then, and waterproof or sweat-proof sunscreens. So that time you would use what's called sports sunscreens. The reason is this is a thicker barrier a lot of times. And sunscreens are not just sunscreens. There's chemical, there's mineral, there's physical, there's hybrid. You need to choose one that suits you. And any sunscreen is better than no sunscreen. And if they're telling you that, or if someone is saying that, oh, don't use sunscreen, our moms didn't use it, etc. Yeah, your moms were much healthier than you are.
Absolutely.
So let's talk in another 15 years when your face is...
So SPF 40 you've said is ideal for face. What about body? Does it have to be more or less?
30 is
works?
good
It
enough,
works?
because you're always wearing layering, right? I mean, you're always kind of protected. Even if if you're wearing sleeveless, then 30 to 50. Keep your SPF between 30 to 50.
So-
And using sunscreen in a built-in makeup is never sufficient. All right, a lot of people will say I use
Yeah,
a
they use a
foundation.
foundation which
Yeah.
is built in SPF.
You need a sunscreen as a standalone sunscreen.
Okay. And when we put sunscreen on our body, we usually put it on the areas that's exposed. Like if I'm wearing sleeveless, just the sleeves.
Yeah.
Do we have to wear it inside the clothes?
Not necessary unless you're going to be outside in the beach, right?
Yeah.
Then you need to wear on all exposed areas. But on a daily basis, you don't need to.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Right. And it actually, reminded me something about of moisturizing. And I've had this question in my mind. A lot of people, when they talk about moisturizing the body, they have a conflict between body oils and moisturizer. So, in the long term, what do you think is better?
Okay, it depends on where your skin is. If you're very dry, you should use oils. Oils penetrate better than creams, all right? And then you can put a cream on top of it. But if you're just using it as a daily basis, a cream is good enough. But oils are photosensitizers. So that means it makes you sun sensitive if you step out with the oil film on your skin. So what's important is that you don't have an oily film on your skin when you step out.
Right.
That's something people should remember.
But doctor, like more and more brands are coming up with
Face
body
oils?
oils which are not the regular coconut, ghar ka ghee and coconut oil and sarson ka tel that we
Yeah.
used to use, but like proper
like
oils that are not
fragrant,
very
nice-
sticky.
yeah.
Like Victoria's Secret, Sol de Janeiro. They
Yes.
have wonderful body oils
Yes.
which are used like which are meant to be worn when you're going
For that
out. What about
glistening
that?
look and
yeah,
for that thing,
yeah,
yes,
yeah.
put your
yes.
sunscreen on top. It still photosensitizes
Oh,
you.
okay, okay.
Yeah.
Works.
Okay.
Oil by nature is a photosensitizer.
So the sunscreen after the oil.
Yes.
Okay.
Sunscreen is always
The
your
last
last
step.
step before makeup.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Now we'd love to talk about clinical treatments
Mm-hmm.
because that is something that's being normalized now. So first things first, what do you think about semi-permanent makeup? Like there's microblading, there's
Lip colors.
lip color. There's also something that makes your skin foundation like there's this foundation like drops that are poured into the face. What are your thoughts? Is it safe?
Yeah, so I think semi-permanent is a good option because if you have thin eyebrows, instead of writing it in, getting a microblading technique is excellent. Even for lip, like a lot of people have hyperpigmentation.
Yeah.
It's not easy to treat it. So just putting a lip color like a nuder shade or camouflaging, that is great. But few things one must remember. When you're doing a microblading, you're actually penetrating the skin, right? It's like micro injections and micro droplets. So the environment has to be sterile. Otherwise, you can get infection. And we see this, a lot of infections that happen. And if you have a risk for keloids, you've got to be very cautious because you can get keloids after microblading. Third, you have to remember that the microblading is only as good as the person doing it. So make sure that they're certified, they're trained, look at their before-after pictures because finding that pigment match is critical.
Yeah.
Because you can't go and put red lips or
Yes.
bright pink lips on a
Yes.
dusky person.
Yes.
It doesn't look good.
Yeah.
You have to keep it as natural as possible. And it wears off. It lasts 12 months, maximum 18 months. You have to touch up. So you're going to keep touching up lifelong. So be prepared for that. It's not a one-off that you do, feel great, because when it
Yeah.
starts fading, it looks quite bad. So you have to go get a touch-up. So it's a discipline. If you're ready for that, do it. Why not? But make sure that this place is sterile. Typically, it has to be a clinical setting. You want sterility. You don't want like a waxing room to be doing it for you.
Yeah.
Please ensure that there is a sterility there and it is clinical because it is micro pricks in your skin.
Yeah. And I think a lot of women, when they go for these treatments, nobody tells them, nobody educates them about the risks and the harms, right? Because I think they get drawn to the vanity of it. And
Yeah, but
after
I
the
also
vanity, the
blame
prices.
them.
So-
You know, Sadhika, I also blame the customer today, the consumer, because, you know, you're smart. Everybody is smart. You have to research, right? And
Yes.
it's not like, okay, in the spur of the moment, you got convinced. Sure, but you're letting someone pierce your skin, right? Prick through that skin.
Yeah.
There is a basic concept of safety.
Yeah.
So in that moment, you can't say that, oh my gosh, I did it.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's not one of those drunk moments.
Yes.
True, true. I mean, it's not just. I mean, people treat it like it's getting a tattoo, but it's not.
Yeah.
And it's
And
not a one night stand either.
Yeah, exactly. And you know, I know women who research more about the kind of lip tint that they want to buy.
Yeah.
But they wouldn't still for the treatments that they want to go for. So yes,
Yeah.
you're right actually. Yeah.
Also, going like next question, we'd love for you to break down fillers and Botox for us because we've heard these terms a lot, but we don't really know what is it exactly and what goes behind the scenes. So, what is a Botox? What is a filler? Is Botox good? Are fillers good?
If done well, it's fantastic. If done bad, it's a horror. But let's talk about it. Botox, actually, if you break it down, it really comes down to being a protein molecule at the end of the day. It's actually a drug. It's one of the most studied drugs in the world with the high safety data. You have to think about it like this. Botox is preventative. Fillers is restorative.
Oh.
That's how you have to think. So you want to preserve what you have. You want to delay wrinkles, lines. That's when you would put Botox in.
Right.
But let's say that you lose volume. Like when people age, especially Indians, we start getting sunken eye
yes,
hollows.
yes.
That's because of the way our bone structure is. You can't put Botox there. You'd put a filler because it's a dip. Whenever there's a dip,
Then
a
you could
shadow,
restore it.
a hollow, you want to fill it. And you
Right.
use a filler. And filler is made of hyaluronic acid. Hyaluronic acid is a natural molecule. Our body manufactures it. But the ones that we use is manufactured in a lab. The the human body doesn't know if it's lab manufactured or its own body manufactured because the chemical composition is just the same.
Yeah.
So you're restoring lost volume. So you lose hyaluronic acid, you lose collagen, you lose fat. We're restoring the hyaluronic acid, which is part of the collagen makeup. After 25, for every year of our life, we lose 1% of our collagen. And if you don't have a good skin routine and you're deficient, stressed, you lose double the amount. All right? That's 2% a year. At 44 and at age 60, there's a quick acceleration of almost a 10% leap, which is not good.
Yeah.
It's a bad leap, right?
Yeah.
Instead of saying a leap, I should say it's like a dunk.
Dunk, yeah,
right?
exactly.
Yeah. So that's what happens. So you're restoring it. Now, if, let's say, actually in 2013-14, I was part of a panel of 10 international doctors who did the first study on preventative Botox. It was called, we called it prejuvenation, and we published the data where we actually took patients who we were treating who were in their early 20s, right? Early 20s, we're talking 23, 24.
Right.
But these were some hyper-expressive patients. Not everybody is hyper-kinetic or hyper-expressive, but some are. So in those people, they have a predisposition to get those lines. So you want to prevent it. Like this line here, right? This is a negative expression.
Yeah.
Nobody looks nice doing this.
Yes.
Right? But you're smiling, you have these crinkles, it makes you like,
Cute and
cute,
nice and-
fun,
yeah.
Stuff. Nobody looks good with a droopy mouth.
Yeah.
Times did this article, right? Resting bitch face. That's what they
Yes.
called it. And that's just a muscle that pulls you down.
Yeah.
So if you relax that muscle, you're not going to get that droop because constant pull, constant depression leads to all of this. So you're relaxing when done correctly.
Right.
Problem is sometimes people do too much and then they look frozen and then they look
Yes.
expressionless,
Yes. It
horrendous.
almost feels like they can't move the muscles in their face. Yeah.
Like I have Botox. I can frown, I can raise my brows, I can crinkle because that's how it should be. It's just, looking the best version of yourself. That's all.
Yeah.
Right? So it's about preserving, not freezing.
Right.
Filler, like here, dark circles. And then if people have lines here,
Yeah.
some lines is natural. Otherwise, it would look like a monkey. But it's overfilling, right? They look like there's no lines, and you're like,
Yeah.
that's
Yeah.
a pillow face, balloon face.
Yes.
That's ugly.
Yeah.
Lips, you just want to accentuate your lips a little bit. Why not?
Yeah.
A little bit of oomph or a little bit of lushness to that
Yeah.
lip is great, but not like.
Yeah.
That's a bit much.
Like out there.
Yeah,
Yes.
right? And some people don't have a cheekbone. Everybody puts highlighters and,
Yeah.
they put the low lights,
contouring
highlights,
and everything,
contouring.
yes,
Makeup
yes.
artists do it all the time. They do
Yeah.
fabulous jobs. But if
Yeah.
you want to look like that all the time without makeup, that's when you put the filler.
Right.
Similarly, creating jaw lines, creating a chin. Like somebody has a round face. You want to make that face look slimmer. You can do that with a combination of Botox and fillers, right? Somebody has a very lean face and everybody tells them, oh my God, you look ill all the time. You have to gain weight. Then you put a little bit of filler, suddenly they're looking healthy.
Yeah.
So this is where Botox and fillers come into play. It really is a fabulous tool to have in our armamentarium as doctors to be able to help patients. But it's
Right.
about doing it naturally and doing it well. It's not just a skill, it's also an art.
No,
So,
I completely agree.
Can Botox be taken orally or does it have to be injected
Injection only.
Okay.
It's a drug, has to be injected by a doctor only.
on concern areas?
On the concerned areas,
Okay.
into the muscle. We have to target the muscle, so it's very specific to its action.
And at what age should one start considering Botox?
Whenever they start seeing the first signs of those lines and they don't want those lines to become permanent, that's when you start. And it's called baby Botox or micro Botox. We even do it for people with rosacea. Like some people have those red cheeks, it's
Yeah.
always flaring up, right? And so actually just putting tiny bits of Botox in the cheek, it's called microtox technique. It actually reduces the flushing so they don't have to worry. In fact, a lot of public speakers, right, that we see and news anchors when they sweat a lot, it looks bad, right? You
Yeah.
got to keep dabbing yourself, etc. So we actually do microtox on their face, and it reduces the sweating, so they don't look so glistening or so
I
that
think that's
shine.
something that you should consider.
The shine reduces because you don't want that.
But you have oily wo.
Yeah, I have naturally oily skin.
Yeah,
I
so we
do that.
work with patients
She
who have.
doesn't need highlighter.
Yeah. I save money.
Yeah, if people have acne, right? And then we help them with acne because if it's a lot of oil and they can't take medicines, sometimes the microtox helps reduce the oil at that moment, so it helps reduce the clogging. We use it post surgery to help so that they don't develop keloids. So there's also a lot of good indications. There's more than 300 approved indications for Botox, from people with cervical dystonia, paralysis, to urinary incontinence. For all of that, it's not just cosmetic by nature. Cosmetic is just a small part of the Botox. It's just that anything goes wrong, Botox.
Yes, yes.
It's the
the
wicked
easiest
witch.
scapegoat right now in the industry. Yes,
Exactly,
yes,
and
yes.
nobody talks about having it done, right? The thing is, it's such a taboo, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's like, Botox? Never. And you're like, right, liars.
But it's becoming very common by the day. And even like regular people, everyday people are getting Botox. Now,
Why
do you
shouldn't
think
they?
we should get Botox done?
If you feel
No,
you
I'm
need
just
it.
asking from that, like a client
Like a
perspective.
dermatologist
that when you
perspective.
see us, because you just said that you should know you have to get Botox done if you see signs of aging. So do you think that
So
we
why
have
don't you
enough signs
suggest,
of aging?
if we were to ever get Botox or
Yeah.
anything done, why do you
You-
suggest what should I get done and what should
You
she
should get the
done?
microtox done for
Okay.
your skin. It'll
Right.
really improve your skin texture. You have a very overactive lower face, so you should look at getting some, because I think your mom's aging is mainly here, if I'm not mistaken.
Oh my God, that's correct.
Yeah, so you should do some preventative Botox here so that you don't get the droop. That's it.
Wow. This
Not
is
your
really
upper face. Your upper face is great. It's just here because your aging is going to be here and you're going to get this jowling. I can
That's
tell you.
so correct. It's like I'm sitting with. So the last episode I hosted was one with astrologer, and I'm getting the astrologer feels here because that's what they do. They kind of make revelations about your life with that they have no idea about. And my mother, she's 60 and she's all blackness and wrinkling happening only just this part. So
Yeah.
she should also get Botox done.
She'll probably need fillers, Botox, and maybe like HIFU or Altera. She'll need more corrective. In yours, it'll be more preservative.
Yeah, I think both of us will be making our appointments after this episode. But now, like right now, you suggested something very specific to us. But if, as somebody who's been in the business for 20 plus years and treated everybody around, is there a particular treatment that you would suggest an average Indian girl to really go for?
Yeah, I think once in 4 weeks you need to have something done to keep that skin stimulation going. It could be like a medifacial or a photofacial. That should be your baseline, right? Not like a regular facial, because a regular facial is just about feeling good, but you're not really having anything active. You need something to go to the living layer, and it can't go through unless it penetrates your skin
layer.
barrier.
Yeah.
And only active products, clinical products can penetrate skin barrier. They can't be in like a salon or a spa. Salon and spas are fabulous. They're really nice to feel good, but not necessarily on the active side, right? So that's what I would suggest. Start with that as your baseline. But I think everybody should have laser hair reduction done for sure. That's the most liberating thing. Get rid of that bloody body hair. Can I say
I
bloody?
vouch for it.
Yes,
Sorry, can
you're
I say
speaking to
bloody?
a choir.
Yeah, of course. Go
You
ahead.
can, you can.
Yeah. So get rid of that bloody body hair.
Yeah. I mean, the reason that I considered laser hair reduction was bikini wax. Like,
Yeah.
there was this one time I started crying because I can't deal with the pain anymore.
It almost gives you a panic attack when you know that
Yeah.
you have to schedule for a bikini
So
wax. And,
painful.
It's too painful.
And I'm the kind of a person, so I still haven't gone for a laser hair reduction, but she's, like really talking me into it, and now I'm actually, considering it.
All right, we're getting you there.
Yes, absolutely. But the jitters are real right before you go for a bikini wax, because you just, your life is flashing in front of you and you just feel like, should I do this? And every chance I get to cancel it, I cancel it. But then later it just feels like a poor
Yeah.
decision.
Yeah.
But think about it, right? I mean, it takes about 6 to 8 sessions on the body to have about a 90% permanent reduction, right? Rest of it, you can do like a few maintenance sessions and you're pretty much done.
Yeah.
And then you don't have to think what to wear
Yes.
and stuff. And you don't have to think like, oh, is my hair like shaved? Is my
Yes.
underarm shaved and stuff? And you always have a bikini ready body at all given time. It's just very liberating. It's one less thing to think as a woman.
For sure, it's an investment.
Yeah.
I mean, all women would relate. Like, for example, now if I go to gym and I wear shorts very often because it's too hot. And the other day I was just like, back in the day, this was not easy. Wearing shorts was not, because only those 5 to 10 days after your waxing was
Yes.
done, you could wear it.
Yeah.
And
Because
then
after that,
you have to
there's
start
baby
covering.
growth. Yeah, so you can't.
And I was like, oh my God, that's not a stress in my life anymore. That's so great. It's so great. And also, I feel if you go for chocolate wax and all of those heavy on the pocket waxing done, laser hair is much economical in the long term.
It is, because I think on an average today, the market price is around 10 to 15,000, max 20,000 rupees per session. So if you think about 6 sessions, it's about 60 to 80,000.
And then you're done.
And then there's EMIs. You have to think about it as an investment for yourself, not for anybody else, but for yourself, for your ease of life in the long term. And that works out really well. The only disclaimer I want to give you here is that it is a medical procedure. It needs to be in a clinic, not in a salon or a spa. Please be cautious. And the kind of laser that is used is very critical. Not every laser is equal. So there are laser hair reduction devices that are what we call as US FDA approved devices, because for US FDA to approve a device, they have to do the studies. These are only devices that have the studies. A CE approved doesn't mean anything. There are about 1,000 CE approved laser hair removal devices. There are
they're
only
no good.
20 US FDA approved devices. They are like 25 times more expensive for somebody to invest in, but you don't have to worry about burns, and you don't have to worry about pigmentation. You don't have to worry about something called reactive hair, because if your doctor is not giving you settings and you're just doing it, instead of destroying, your hair can actually grow longer. It's called reactive hair. And nothing about us, but generally Punjabis and Sindhis are prone to reactive hair in India.
Yeah?
Yeah. When I used to be in London, we were one of the first clinics to write about reactive hair. We were the first people to talk about reactive hair way back in 2004 and 5, because we had a huge set of Indian patients coming through the clinic doors, and we talked about it first. And so that's why it's important that you have the doctor, and the doctor should check your session. An esthetician under the doctor can do it for you, a nurse can do it for you, but your face, always a doctor only must do.
Yeah. That
Same
makes
happens
sense.
with me. My body's done by a technician,
technician,
but
correct.
the face, doctor has to
Yeah,
come.
and the doctor has to check your hair every time, because the settings change every time.
Absolutely.
So we don't need your hair to grow as long as when you wax, right? But we ask you, the moment you see it coming in like a stubble, come back within the week. Don't let it grow long.
Yeah.
That's important for laser hair reduction. The doctor will examine and give the settings. And the reason is, it's what we call as a class 4 laser. So if they shoot it into your eyes by mistake, you can go blind. So you have to be cautious about it. Sadly, our rules in India are not that stringent yet. We're working on it from the medical council and everything, and we've given the proposal to the government. But this is what I say, as a consumer, you have your health in your hand. So please check.
Absolutely. And I think as I don't know, maybe this is an Indian thing or maybe it's not, but I
It
just
is.
feel like we have like a greater risk appetite, and we mustn't, in this category, like in this zone, we shouldn't.
I don't know about risk
like
appetite.
playing
I
with
think we have a
fire.
discount mentality.
Ah,
Everybody
yes.
likes it for free.
Yes.
And there are very different kind of fears that people have around laser hair reduction, like it'll cause cancer or it'll burn your skin and all of those things. And we were just talking behind the camera, and you said it's completely safe if
Yeah,
done
because
rightly.
it's infrared region, right? The lasers. It's not in the UV. UV spectrum is like 300, under 300, 400, that area. These lasers are typically 700 and above. So there's no cancer risk at all associated. A lot of these are used for healing and for scar therapy, etc. So it's very safe. You're not on the other side, the UV side, you're on the near infrared spectrum. So there's no cancer. But yes, you can have a burn, because the laser picks up color. It doesn't know what's skin and what's hair. So the hair has to be darker and than your skin.
Distinguished, yes.
Yeah.
Which is why they say that it's more effective for Indian skin, laser hair reduction, because we have thicker and darker hair.
It's effective for anybody who has hair that is darker than their skin. And thicker is better, because there's a huge body that can take the heat and get destroyed, right? That's why it's better. But if somebody has a tan, then you have to be careful. Because if you treat when you have a tan, then you can get a skin burn. But, if you're with a doctor, the doctor will treat the burn. It's possible. It's rare, but it's possible. But it can be treated. There's nothing to worry about.
Got it.
Perfect.
We've just spent a lot of time right now talking about so many things that can help us feel good about ourselves. And actually, do things inside our body, inside our, like under our skin, and actually nourish us properly and help us look better. But I do know that, a large part of our audience is also young women. And young women, they have their insecurities of their own, right? So I'm sure that as you grow old, you can make a choice whether or not to look a certain way. But when you're growing up in those years, in those teenage years, there are already so many insecurities. So as a woman, as a dermatologist, I would like to ask you, what are certain things that young women can avoid, being panicked about? Or, like I'm sure there are certain things that are okay to have at your age. Maybe it's okay to, be having this. It's okay, you'll grow out of it, or things will happen differently. And not for every little thing you need to rush to a dermatologist. So, what would you like to say on that front?
Look, I think you have to think about skin health like how you think of dental health, right? Like you brush your teeth every day so that you don't get cavities. Same way, just invest into your routine skincare, just a basic skincare routine, 3, max 4 steps, and that'll maintain your health. But let's say that your skin is starting to behave differently, then go get a consult. It doesn't mean you have to have a procedure, but go get a consult so that the doctor can iterate your skincare to that skin at that moment.
Right.
And 1 or 2 pimple breakouts around your periods every month is okay to have. But if you are having more than 3 breakouts, then I would say speak to the doctor, because it is actually a sign of hormonal imbalance for us.
Right.
1 to 2 is okay, but if you're getting more, and especially if you're starting to get them around your jawline and the chin area, etc., then talk to us. And if you have a lot of clogging in the T-zone, talk to us. That's also a sign that you're more sensitive to the testosterone or androgens in your body. So
Right.
these are the few things. If you're having a lot of hair fall, right? It's nutritional if you were unwell, etc. So just get your nutrition right. Don't panic about it, right? People panic more about hair than they do about skin.
So that is so true.
That's
Yeah.
And that's more relevant in men, I feel, right now, because of the receding, receding hairlines,
Hairline,
there are
premature
patches, premature
graying,
balding. A lot of things are happening right now.
Post-pandemic hair fall and
Yeah,
all of that.
hair fall is fixable. If you're having receding and thinning, you need to see the doctor. But hair fall is fixable. It's just about the nutrition.
Right.
And so make sure you get the nutrition fixed. So these are the few things I would say about it. But I would say that once a year, see a doctor as a routine just to ensure that you're on the right path.
Right.
That's pretty much it. And if you can do that, you can actually do a great thing. And if you're in your 20s, just by virtue of having good skin, like if you didn't have breakouts and you were fine, you can even get away with just a quarterly treatment, like a maintenance with a photofacial or a medifacial, and that's
Right.
good. Only when you start seeing troubled signs that are bothering you, then see the doctor, not because someone told you.
Right.
Fair enough.
Speaking of acne, doctor, I never broke out at 16. Why am I breaking out at 28? What is adult acne? And how do you reverse it?
Adult acne, 99.9% of the time, has to do with your hormones. It's one of the first indicators that your hormones are flaring off. So a lot of times we'll ask you for a blood test. We may even ask you for an ultrasound of your abdomen and pelvic area to check your ovaries to see for cysts, right? So we think of thyroid imbalance, we think of polycystic ovaries, or we think of stress and cortisol. These are the 3 main factors that we think about when there is adult acne. Then we also think about probably diet. If there's a high sugar diet, or if there is lactose intolerance and you're high on dairy, that can also impact. The last step is poor skin routine. But just poor skin routine will cause clogging, but not acne
yeah,
breakouts.
right.
So acne breakout is always hormonal. So we need to find out which hormones are off and fix that.
Perfect. Western people don't talk enough about facials. They're mostly into skincare. And I've never heard them talk about, okay, get those needlings done and everything. And, Indian women, they have a lot of blackheads and
Yes.
whiteheads. We
Yes.
have a lot of them. Like, my face is full of it. Right? We have it. So is it possible to get rid of them without those facials and without poking those needles in your face and those sucking
Machines,
that
the
machines also,
microdermabrasions and everything like that. So when you have whitehead and blackhead, there are 2 things, right? it's just when you have oil in your skin, if it gets oxidized, it turns into a blackhead. A whitehead is clogging when you're overusing a product sometimes, or you're not washing, and then there's clogging and the skin is growing over, so you don't have a good, decent exfoliation routine. So those are what is happening, and they're also pre-indicators of hormone imbalance, acne, etc. But blackhead and whitehead, typically you do need to get it sucked out, and you do need sometimes steam and extraction for it. Pore strips are a quick fix, but it's not the answer. The long-term answer is to actually try and see if we can reduce the oil content in the skin.
Right.
And second, close those pores, not completely, but reduce the size of the pores. So derma rollers, microneedling, these come in handy, not at-home devices, but in clinic products. And then adding retinol to the skincare does help.
Okay.
And masks with salicylic acid, etc.
Right. And since, you've been a celebrity dermatologist, I would love to sort of, get a peek into the mindset of celebrities and actors and actresses. So what are the kind of requests or what are the kind of procedures that they come to you with mostly?
I think today, like if we talk about 10 years ago, it was very different. But today, everybody, all celebrities, have a team behind them, right? They'll have a nutritionist, they'll have a trainer, and like that, they all have a dermatologist. And it really is about being the best version of themselves and maintaining that skin, because they have rigorous discipline. First and foremost, they are so disciplined. It's scheduled into their calendar. All right, no matter where they are, it could be an off day or shoot day, etc. But if they have a skin appointment, they don't miss it, no matter what, because they know that they have to maintain it, and it's part of their job profile to do that. Actors or actresses, skin, hair, body, everything. And so it can be as basic as just a monthly photofacial. A lot of them have something called the celebrity photofacial, which is like a 90-minute treatment, which has a gentle exfoliation, then it has a deep cleanse, then it has infusions with all the antioxidants and actives, etc. for the skin, and then finally like a laser that helps break up any kind of pigmentation and increases the blood flow. That's their basic maintenance. But if they get a breakout, then they can't have a breakout, so that requires the quick fixes. Then there are quick fixes for that. And if they had bad skin, they actually, nowadays we see people who want to get into the movie industry working on their skin, body, hair at least 3 years before they plan to get into this industry.
Wow.
Before,
Preventative.
yeah. So before, they would be in the movie and then they'll say, the spot boy said that even with all this lighting, he can't make me look good. What can I do, doctor? Or it would be like even the makeup is not covering the scars. Now, you'll see that they're pretty much quite flawless when they're there.
Yes.
And now the cameras pick up even the tiniest blemish in our skin. Yeah.
Now
So it's
as
discipline.
if, celebrities have become unreal. Like, I remember seeing this ad that Deepika Padukone did, and of course Alia, but like, my God, they're flawless. This, like, they don't have anything on their face. And even Kiara Advani, when she came to Bollywood, how she looked and now how she looks, like, they're, even with dusky skins, the glow and the clarity on the face, it's unreal. And I think that is what is ruining it for us people, because we want to look like that. They are the benchmark.
But the thing is, they invest time and money into it, and it is their livelihood. It's a little bit unrealistic for everybody to want to have that unless you're ready to invest like that, right? It's part of their routine. Like for us to eat our breakfast, lunch and dinners and sleep is part of our routine. For them, along with that, the skin is part of their routine. And they're not just doing skin treatments, but they're also doing like supplementation, they're exercising, they're eating healthy, they're taking care of their gut, etc. Even though their sleep routines are sometimes off because of the schedules, they ensure that they're doing what is necessary to elevate the stress impact on themselves. And they have a huge team behind them. It's not a single person's effort. So I think one has to understand that what we see on the screens is beautiful, but it is on the screens. And very rarely do we actually see all of them without their makeup. Very rarely.
You've made a very, very strong point, because when we look at a celebrity, we feel like, oh, I want to look like them, but we don't realize that, like you said, it's their livelihood. Their livelihood and their career depends on looking the way they do. Ours do not. So we do not put that kind of time and energy behind it. And also the fact that what they do is very wide. We eat donuts in the morning and 10 cups of coffee
Or a
during the
khatri
day,
roll when
and
you're
रात
early.
को and रात को 2 बजे मैगी खा रहे हैं, and then the next day we just want to put one serum that a celebrity promoted on Instagram and we want to look like them.
Yeah.
We're not working out,
Yeah.
we're not cutting down on sugar, we're not, we don't have a team of professionals behind us, and then we compare ourselves with celebrities, so that's very unrealistic, and that's a lot of self-inflicted pressure, and one definite way to have a lot of self-doubt. So that's very good. I love that point that she's made. So
Look, I always say this, right? The best version of you. And the best version is not just about your skin, right? It's inner health, outer glow. That's what I always say. You got to be healthy on the inside, then you're healthy on the garbage in, garbage out.
Yeah.
So just keep that in mind. And garbage is not just about what you eat, but it's also what you feed your brain.
Yes.
So
true. So
bad
important.
content.
Yes.
Delete all of that. In fact, I was at a talk about a year and a half ago by this longevity expert from the US. And one of the things he said is that he does not look at social media and he does not look at news anymore because it actually, they did a study and it showed that all of this consumption actually increased your cortisol because you see it and you have this FOMO and it just makes you feel inadequate or it makes you feel stressed because everything is negative.
Yes.
Because negativity, sensationalism sells.
Yeah.
So we are just putting ourselves through that, right? We think, oh, it's nice, let's scroll.
Yeah.
But it's just that consumption and mentally we're feeding garbage in.
Yes.
So just remember that.
Yeah. Unfortunately, the kind of business that we're in, we can't really stay off of our phones, but I completely understand, and which is why, we have started moderating the kind of content that we're exposing ourselves to.
Yeah.
There needs to be a limit. You need to set that limit. You can't really be taking your phone every time you use the washroom and then sitting there for hours and just, looking at shit and feeling shit later on, because you probably do it to feel better. You do it to, watch funny reels, but you end up feeling really bad because you may have, looked at somebody's dream wedding and it's just...
and
Yeah.
you're never going to have it.
Yeah.
And we feel everybody has
You
everything,
can have a
but
dream marriage,
Yeah.
but that the dream wedding might not happen for you, and you might still have the dream marriage, but that makes you feel bad.
But like when we talk about it, right? For you, it's your work. But at least you have each other to talk it out and
For
stuff. So
sure,
you always
yes.
need to have that buddy, right? I mean, we all like consuming content, but have that buddy you can talk it out with who can at least set you right and say, hey, chill. Just cool down, you look great, or you're fine as you are. It's just one of those things. But that's important, right? An outlet for that negativity is also equally important.
Yes.
So your social fabric, your friend circle, it has a big role. Like, why do women outlive men? When they
Because
lose
they're
their
better.
when they lose their partner, right? Like
Yeah.
women who are widowed, as opposed to a guy who's widowed, women tend to outlast.
Yes.
Because they have this bond with their friends, they talk, they chat, they feed off each other's energy. So that's important for youngsters also to understand and have that secure circle. And if you have somebody in your circle who's making you feel bad or inadequate, throw them out.
Yeah. I think God did that for us.
Yeah.
Yeah,
But I
while
love
ago.
how this episode has turned into a wellness episode. It's exactly what I wanted,
Yeah.
in the beginning when we were starting the episode, because, we didn't just want to be like peptides and serums and treatments and
Yeah,
PRP
but
and
it
all
looks
of
like
that.
now, it's holistic, right? And that's what
Always.
people also need to know, that
Yeah.
listen, you have to work on every aspect of your life and your body to be able to achieve anything.
Harmony.
Yeah, harmony.
Looking good starts from the inside. That's
Yeah,
so
feeling
important.
good.
So important. I forgot. I had to ask you this, doctor. So the other day, I went to one of the oldest and nicest clinics we have in India, and because I got a voucher from Axis Bank, so I went there and they gave me this trial treatment, and it's called M toning, M
Yeah.
sculpting.
M-sculpt.
Yeah.
M20.
And a 30-minute session on the waist is
Yeah.
equal to 2,000 crunches in the gym. I want to know, what is even the implication of this? Are we replacing wellness with machines? Is it even the right thing to do?
It's not replacing, it's just adding, right? I mean, when do you ever do 2,000 crunches?
Yeah.
Even
Over a
like
span of 2
even
months.
Arnold Schwarzenegger doesn't do 2,000 crunches.
Yeah.
But let's break it down, right? You're talking about a device called M-Tone, M-Sculpt. These are muscle sculpting devices. When can you sculpt muscle? When you're fit. You're a little bit flabby, heavy. How are you going to see the muscle through that fat?
Yeah.
Right? Like among all of us, Sadhika. If we were working on Sadhika, one session is not going to do it. You've got to do a session every week or every 2 weeks, a series of 8 to 12 sessions in a span of 8 to 12 weeks, and then you'll start seeing the muscle getting sculpted.
Right.
Okay? If you had to do the same definition with diet, exercise, it would have probably taken you about 9 months to 12 months.
Yeah.
Right? This is the Insta generation, right? So you want instant muscles also. This is just one way of doing it. And it does help because it does increase your basal metabolic rate, etc. But if you're not slim, fitter already, that muscle sculpting will take a long time for you to start seeing that sculpted six pack that you're talking about, or tighter buttocks which are lifted, or toned thighs. But why not? I mean, it's
So
like
it's not
this, right? You're
harmful.
walking on a road and then it's really hot and then there's an auto passing by. Won't you jump into the auto?
Yeah.
So why not? It's the same
You would take the
concept.
ride.
I mean, if you can afford it, it's expensive treatment. So if you can afford it and it's part of what you want to do, sure, do it. There's safety behind all of it.
So it's not harmful.
Not at all.
So, when I got to know about these treatments, I was like, you look at those celebrities and those models and you're like, man, she must eat right and work hard in the gym. And then, nahi yaar, ye bhi to kar rahe hai. So, there's science also helping them look the
Of
way they are.
course there is. I mean,
There's
it's never
both,
diet
yeah.
and yoga and Ayurveda only.
Yeah.
Everybody does everything in moderation.
Right.
And why not? What's wrong with it?
No, nothing's wrong with it.
Right?
But,
But
we always
that's the
think that,
thing. We should destigmatize it, right?
Yes.
Why is there a stigma and why do people say, oh my God, she's so pretty, she spent so much time and money on it? Why are we even like commenting on a person's
Right.
looks? We should stop that.
if only appreciate them.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. Say, wow, she looks hot or she looks so good, amazing.
Yes.
Instead of like, oh, she looks so hot, she's done too much.
Yeah.
Or she must be doing something.
Yes.
So what if she's doing it?
I
What's
think
the
we need
big
a change
deal?
of perspective.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like you gain like 1 inch, or your jeans is feeling tight after a holiday or a festival. You're gonna hit that gym. You're gonna diet. It's the same with your skin, right? It's sagging. It's breaking out. Why not correct it?
Okay, so I have one question. You just spoke about how things can be in moderation, and that's fine, right? So, as a dermatologist, what would you say is moderate when it comes to alcohol? Because, like our lifestyle or young people, like the generation, maybe the Gen Z is not into drinking so much. That's what the studies are talking about.
They're
But
into
at least the
drugs.
millennials, Gen Zs are into drugs. Like, that's
And
what we
I
hear
am
and see.
surprised by how, 5 years ago, for me, drugs were something you talked about and saw in
Only in movies, yeah.
And now I am surprised with how normalized drugs have become and how normally they're being consumed left, right, center. You go to a party and it's not just those extreme rich kids, it's just the people around you taking out powder from their pockets, and it's
really
I mean,
sad.
I don't approve of it. I do feel that everything's okay in moderation, but I as a person do not, and I'm not here to judge anybody, but the consumption of drugs is becoming more and more common now.
Yeah.
So, what do you have to say about both the influence of drugs and alcohol and smoking on skin?
Because
and
see, a lot
hair?
of people in this generation, they do indulge.
Sure.
And they want to indulge. So what is moderation for them?
Look, whenever you put anything in, and if it's chemicals, you got to do something to take away the chemical damage, right? So, like I always say that if you're drinking alcohol, for every glass of alcohol that you drink, think of 3 glasses of water to hydrate that out. And if you're doing it every day, that's a lot because you need to give a break not just for your skin but for your liver also, right?
Yeah.
For the detox to occur and stuff. So there are various studies, and some of the new studies say no alcohol is good.
Yes.
Right? Even 1 glass of wine is not good anymore.
In fact, I read a study that said that even 1 sip of alcohol is already bad for
Yeah.
you.
So I think that, even studies, a lot of them sometimes are funded and you never know. There'll be something, suddenly there's a whole quinoa generation,
Yeah.
right? And quinoa is not even normal to us. There was a whole millet generation and you're like, in moderation, folks, and stuff like that. So I always say that, look, we're social beings. Humans are social beings. And
Right.
if you're out and you're having a drink, just ensure that you have your antioxidants to combat, because what is it? It's again free radical damage. So combat that, right?
Right.
Like a lot of my high performance athletes and a lot of the CEOs that we see and, you know, the business guys, they need to be in peak performance at all times, but they're also socializing. So we have them on IV nutraceuticals to offset all of these damages and stuff, right? So there's a whole regenerative medicine, longevity, etc. that they talk about. But when you're talking about Gen Zs and stuff, they're still young, right? And remember, your hypothalamus, which is your logic brain, doesn't really develop till 26.
Yeah,
So,
and for mental, much later.
so everything maaf. But not really. So I just say that, it is your body and you have to take care of it. Years of damage takes decades of working at it to correct it. So everything in moderation. Drugs, it's a whole different atmosphere out there. I don't even know what to say on it. It's just that if my patients are doing that, I always tell them that, look, guys, if you're doing that, there's only this much I can do. I don't even want to know what drugs you're doing because it just makes no sense that on one side you're abusing and on the other side you want me to make you look great.
Yes.
I'll make you look, but it's never going to last.
Yeah, it's almost like counterproductive.
It is. And there's always going to be internal decay, right? I mean, your body was not meant for that.
Yeah.
There are psychedelics. Everybody's testing psychedelics out, and the mushroom phenomenon is huge, etc. There is studies on that. But when we're talking about the powder drugs, that's a whole level
And
of
psychedelics
abuse.
are good for the body?
Drugs are just not good for your body.
Very intrigued.
Drugs are not good for your body because your body was not made for drugs. But saying that, we don't know enough of what's out there.
Yeah.
That's true. That's true.
But I remember this, like, when I was growing up, and I would watch a lot of Hollywood movies. And at that time in Hollywood, that I don't know, should I call it a trend or maybe it was sort of an epidemic, but people were really hooked onto heroin.
Yeah, 80s,
Yes,
90s. What
yes, 80s or 90s, I think.
Yeah,
And you
90s.
could just see the difference in actresses, like, their face changed. They almost started looking like they were zombies.
Yes.
And it was so
What's
sorry.
a heroin exactly?
I think you inject it.
That's cocaine, right? I mean,
Heroin is
cocaine.
cocaine?
Heroin.
Cocaine is cocaine, no.
Heroin is the one you inject.
inject, okay.
And cocaine is the one you snort.
Snort, yeah.
Yeah.
There's
That I
also
don't
something
think
called
I know.
freezing, apparently.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There's so
Yeah,
many
they
terms.
rub it on the teeth and they call it freezing.
Wow.
This entire...
Wow.
Somebody at a party is like, no, I don't do drugs. I don't snort. I just freeze, and I'm like, bro, it's the same thing. It's not on your nose. It's on your teeth. What the?
It's still going inside, right?
Yeah, exactly.
People have all kinds of ways to
Be in denial.
be
Yeah.
in denial and
Yeah.
justify what they're doing.
Yeah.
Right?
It is. It is.
Yeah.
So, doctor, we'd love to demystify some certain ingredients and products that we keep hearing of. First is AHAs and BHAs. What are they?
Okay, they're basically like alpha hydroxy, beta hydroxy. Beta works better for anything to do with oiliness. So it's like salicylic acid and acne, oily skin. That's great. Alpha hydroxy is like your glycolic acid. It's made from sugarcane, lactic acid, which is made from like milk products, etc., citric acid. So that is more gently exfoliating by nature, better for pigmentation and gentle exfoliation.
Got it. And speaking of glycolic acid, I saw this somewhere that if it applied on dark under armpits, it lightens them, and even your dark areas like elbows and knees, it helps with that, does it?
It does to a certain extent. It will. The reason is it's about exfoliation, right? When you have dark underarms and knees, etc., it's thickening of the skin, so it softens that skin. So when the skin gently exfoliates, some of the pigmentation comes down.
Got
Right.
it. Doctor, one very, very important question I want to ask. So dark circles, everybody's dealing with it. Do eye creams work?
It depends on the type of dark circles. There are 4 types of dark circles.
Oh, really?
Yes. The sunken one, which is structural, only a filler will help. If there is pigmentation, brown pigmentation, then using a eye cream with the anti-pigmentation product will help. Then there is something which is called vascular, which is more like a purplish hue, grayish purplish, that people will have a history of hay fever, allergies. That only laser will work.
Okay.
All right. And then there's the 4th variety, which is a mixed of all. So if you have the pigmentation type, or if you have very dry skin there, that's the time your moisturizer will work, or your dark circle cream. And dark circle cream is there only to help you with pigmentation and with keeping that skin smooth, because the thinnest skin around in our face is just the under eye area and our eyelid area. So it doesn't have enough hydration, moisturization. So you need to use that eye cream, or you can just use like a ceramide moisturizer as your eye cream.
Makes sense. And I also would like to ask something. do face masks really work? And I'm not talking about the ones where you put a scrub and then you put something like you put a cream and all. The sheet masks.
Right.
Do sheet masks work?
To feel fun and happy and nice, yes. But if you're asking your skin, did it correct something? No.
no.
The reason is it just sits on the surface of the skin, right? At that moment, it's cooling and it feels good. It's a great thing to do
Yeah.
at a girlfriend's party, a sleepover,
Yeah.
etc. There's no harm in doing it because you're just putting something on the surface. So you're helping the surface,
Right.
but you're not correcting anything.
That's the experience we had with mask
Yes.
because we applied it 4-5 times and we were like, it doesn't help, it doesn't do anything.
Only for those few hours after.
Yeah, like
That's
it's a
it.
feel good.
Yeah, that's what it is. But you do get something called active masks, which have actives in there in a clay base, etc. Those do work for acne or pigment and stuff like that, maybe once a week kind of thing on the skin.
Right.
Okay. And so, like sunscreen, there's also conflicting theory about scrubs.
Yes.
So, growing up, scrub was absolutely essential to exfoliate. It was like dead skills hatani hai, to scrub karna padega. Body pe, face pe, even face pe, we'd put that basin, dahi ka mixture and all of that to exfoliate.
And
we'd
every
have-
middle class washroom would have those, like
Yeah.
what are those called? Those scrub flowers.
Loofahs.
Yeah, loofahs.
Loofahs
Yes,
or Puma stones
Yes,
also.
yes. yes.
And now everybody is like scrubs are scrubs have been cancelled right now. They're too harsh on the skin. There are gentle exfoliators. Don't ever scrub, but there are still scrubs in the market. So what do you have to say about that?
Do you remember the time when apricot seeds were the hit thing
Yes,
for scrubs?
yes.
Oh gosh. Look, the face and neck skin is completely different from the rest of your body because this is the most exposed to environment, so much more inflammatory. For this area, avoid anything that has a feel or texture. So only active exfoliation, enzyme exfoliation, even dahi, malai is okay because
Right.
that's also lactic acid if you break it down. That's all. But if there is a texture, no, because it creates micro tears. Micro tears means irritation. Irritation means pigmentation eventually. That's why. All right. On the body, though, you can still use pumice stones. You can still use loofahs. You can still use scrubs on the body because the skin on the body is thicker. And especially, that around your knee and then in your soles and
Yeah.
around your elbow, the skin is dry and thick
Yeah.
and clumped. You can use it, but make sure you moisturize after that.
Because
so
the
that-
pores are open.
Exactly, and then there are micro tears, so you get a cover and you get a film and a barrier. But that's what's important in sunscreen on those areas once you scrub. You never want to scrub and go into the direct sun. Like you're doing a beach holiday, the day before is not the day to scrub, right?
Yeah.
At least 72 hours.
Yeah.
Okay,
a lot
okay.
of people also say that, right after waxing, you should never go for like a bleach or
Yeah.
treatments
It
like that.
irritates so much.
Yeah.
It
The reason
hurts.
is when you do a waxing, right, you're pulling, but you're also stripping the top layer of your
Yeah.
skin.
Yeah.
It's like another kind of exfoliation, like a physical rough exfoliation.
Yeah.
So again, 72 hours for that skin to heal. And right after waxing, do make sure that you use good moisturizers and nourish it well. Otherwise, people get redness, itching, and all of that.
Right.
I was just thinking that you have the lightest layer of skin under your eyes and on
Yeah.
your
Eyelids.
but that's the place where you put maximum amount of makeup, and which is why when we remove the makeup, the maximum friction
Yes.
happens here only when you're removing your kajal, your mascara, and here just one layer is fine, but here you have to do 5 times, right? So how do you protect your under eyes and your eyelids against all of this friction?
So, the whole double cleansing and everything, sometimes it's triple cleansing, but you have to use something that's oil-based first, and that's something that breaks all the, waterproof mascara and all of that first. And the trick to doing your eye makeup is soak your eye pads or cotton pads with it, leave it on there for at least 40 to 60 seconds so that it acts. It's not put it on that and then start wiping it. That's the bad. You need to
Yeah,
keep it
and we
there,
all do that.
keep
Yeah.
it pressed, and then you wipe it, it just gently comes out. And then you
Right.
use the earbud with a little bit of the cleanser to gently tease away all of the rest of the
Kajal and
liners and
liners,
everything and stuff. And then you wash with the cleanser. So you have to remove the makeup first and there are gentle cleansing wipes that do a great job now, which break down the water waterproof and stuff. So instead of using 4-5 pads, you can use a cleansing wipe. You hold it here, wipe, then hold it here, wipe
Yeah.
the lips off next, and then the rest of the face.
Yeah.
And then do a second layer of it if you have to, and then wash it off with a water or a gel-based cleanser.
Yeah.
Makes sense.
Yeah, that's a great hack actually. This entire episode has almost felt like under the garb of calling a dermatologist. We've gotten a free session and so have the viewers because we've gotten to learn so much.
I'll send you
today.
my consultation bill.
Yes, yes. Maybe everybody will pitch in, the comment section. I should get super chats. People should pay up for this. But, it has been absolutely wonderful talking to you. But before we round our episode up, we have two very fun and interesting quick segments that we'd love to do with you.
Done.
Okay. So, are you ready?
All right. Ready.
This little segment is called Fact or Fiction.
Okay.
Right? So you're going to tell us whether what we're going to say next is true or it's just, an exaggerated myth. Perfumes cause cancer.
False.
Sunscreen causes cancer.
False, 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 false.
You can shrink your pores permanently.
Yeah, when you're dead.
More expensive is equal to better skincare.
Do I really have to answer that? I mean, that's such a dumb question. But false.
You need sunscreen indoors.
True.
Blackheads can be removed without facials.
Kind of true. You could use pore strips. You could use like deep cleansing clay mask with salicylic acid, lactic acid. They can help.
Okay. Home remedies don't work.
Kind of false, because there are a lot of good Indian home remedies that do work, like malai. It's lactic acid that does help, provided that your skin can take that. Even the basin helps,
With the
stuff like
tanning.
that, gently, right? Nothing harsh. So there are a lot of good home mitts that work, but not this garlic and potato nonsense.
Yeah. Okay. And I know that I'm going a little off script here, but growing up, one thing that my father has, sort of told me that for hair fall, you should put onion juice in your head.
Yeah.
Does that really work? Because it smells really bad.
I know, it does, right? But you have to remember, even actives that we talk about come from botanical origins, right? Like glycolic acid is sugarcane. Lactic acid is milk products. Citric acid is citric fruits. Similarly, onion juice. Why does it help? Because it actually stimulates the blood circulation in that area. And it's shown to have an anti-inflammatory effect. That's why. So onions are anti-inflammatory by nature. So that's why. I know it stinks, but yeah. But why even do all of that right now? You get them all bottled with nice fragrance. You may as well just use that.
Yes, fair enough.
Yeah, but even more than that is, forget the onion juice. The peptides or the active ingredients are extracted, so you can just use that. Why even use the juice?
Yes, absolutely. Perfect. I loved your answers, by the way. You were
Okay,
so
you're
sassy.
done.
Yeah, I'm done.
That's it.
Yeah.
Acha, itna hi tha. But see, I'll tell you, this is obviously off script. Okay, kitchen की चीजें लगाने का ना एक psychological satisfaction होता है that you're going the organic way.
Why
Or
don't you
maybe that you're
ask
being
on
a good
camera? It's a
daughter to
great
your-
question to ask on camera. I have a
chalo,
good
theek
answer
hai.
for you.
Okay.
Okay, I think this is already captured, but yeah. So I
Do it
think
again.
onion juices and all, no, they work because psychologically there's a lot of satisfaction कि kitchen से निकाला है, organic है, adulteration नहीं है, chemicals नहीं है, so it's good and also it's cheap. So
That was your onion organic. And just because it's natural doesn't mean it's going to work. You have to understand, just because it's natural, your skin doesn't care. It only cares about the active ingredients. Like if you put tomato on it, it doesn't care. It cares if you put lycopene, which is the active component. You put lemon juice, it's citric acid, so it helps. Malai, because it's lactic acid, right? So just because it's natural doesn't mean it's good. I mean, bacteria are part of nature, virus is part of nature, fungus is part of nature.
Yeah, makes sense.
And why do we feel good? Because our parents told us, our
Yeah.
grandparents
Yeah,
told
I
us.
guess psychological
Conditioning.
satisfaction is of being a good daughter because you've listened to your mother who's been
Yeah.
after your life to do this.
Yeah, and in those days, they didn't have the pollution that
Yeah.
we have. So it was great stuff, right? And they didn't have also what we have today. Everything's available in a jar
That's
or a
true.
bottle.
That's true. That's true.
Right? Magic potions in a bottle.
Yeah.
Except for the love potion, everything's there.
Well, love potion is what you make of it.
Ah, yes. Spoken like somebody in love.
Yeah. Happily married and all, huh?
Why not? Yeah. Otherwise, why get
Absolutely.
married?
We cheer for you.
That's true.
Yeah. You're
No,
the
makes
hope,
sense.
for women who are single
No,
right
we
now.
love
You're
to
actually
be
the hope.
surrounded by, like, we make a conscious effort to be surrounded by people who are successful in love because
Yeah,
that
we're in
gives us a
happy
lot of hope.
relationships. Yes.
Take your time. There's no rush.
Yeah.
And enjoy single life too, because once you get married, then that single life is over.
That's true. That's true. No, we're enjoying.
Awesome.
Okay, so now we'll move on to our last round, doctor, which is the quick fire round.
All right.
So rapid fire. Think of it as a Kejo round. Cool. So sunscreen or water, pick one for better skin.
Sunscreen. Because even if you're dehydrated, we could correct it. But once you're damaged with the sun, it's gone.
Okay. Should frizzy hair be combed with a thick or thin brush?
A wide comb, like, wide teethed brush. That's what, like a comb. That's what you need, not a brush.
Worst skincare trend of the year.
Everything in the kitchen on your face. But no, it's actually people trying to do like microneedling and derma rollers at home. What they don't understand is the moment you prick your skin, you're creating an entry port for damage to happen. So it's not good for you to do it at home.
Got it. Cost-effective Indian skincare that actually delivers. Brand names.
Skin Q.
Okay.
The Cosmoderma skincare brands, Minimalist is a decent brand that I actually think they've done a good job. Then there's like CeraVe, Cetaphil. These are decent too.
Nice. Okay.
And affordable.
Yeah,
Yeah.
they are. Minimalist definitely is.
Yeah.
Even Cetaphil and CeraVe.
Yeah,
CeraVe
all
is
of them.
inexpensive,
All of these
yeah.
are all
Cetaphil.
inexpensive
Yeah.
brands.
Right.
Most overrated skincare brand.
I think these Augustin Bader, all these really exclusive Western brands that we get, they're overrated. And also celebrity-driven skincare brands. Hardly anybody has any research or data behind it. It's
Yeah.
just about what was a trending molecule, put it together, amazing packaging, and you're sorted.
Yeah.
Which is why a lot of creative brands aren't doing really well. There
they're
are only
failing.
handful. Yeah, only
Nobody
handful of
is.
brands that are doing well, backed by celebrities.
There is
So,
none.
yeah.
No skincare brand is profitable driven even by a celebrity. There are
yeah.
sales, but there's no profit.
Yeah.
Makes sense. Makes sense also.
Yeah.
So most underrated skincare brand.
That's a toughie. But I want to say this. There are a lot of decent pharma brands which are like 250, 300 rupees, like a Venusia moisturizer, which people are like, oh, it's only 250, 300
It must
rupees. Are
not
you
be
sure
good.
it'll work? But you're like, that's a drug. That's why it's a subsidized brand. So I think people underrate Indian pharma.
Fusibet for that.
No,
No?
Fusibet is
You
a
don't like-
steroid. You do not use Fusibet.
After the laser hair reduction, that cream they give, it's Fusibet. It's from
Yes,
the
but
chemist.
Fusibet is a steroid. It's a Schedule H drug. You should never use it unless given by your dermatologist,
Okay.
which is what they gave you post laser to
Yeah.
reduce inflammation. One use, never beyond that.
Yeah.
The biggest abuse in India today is steroid for fairness.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. One procedure every Indian woman should consider.
Laser hair reduction for sure.
Yeah.
Sponges versus makeup brushes. What's more skin safe?
Makeup brushes, because you can wash them and keep them more hygienic. Sponges, they retain a lot and very few people keep washing them.
But the application is not very smooth when it comes to brushes and sponges.
No, if
they
you get
just-
some really nice sable hair brushes, you get great application. Or use disposable sponges. That would be the best.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Makes sense. A celebrity client whose skin surprised you, like in a good way.
Oh, I'm trying to think.
Anybody who's with amazing skin.
Yeah.
Not really. Everybody has abuse on their skin, sadly, because of the work they're in. But some of them have good genetics. But I can't name names because I have NDAs with all of my
Sure.
patients.
Yeah.
Okay. And one skincare habit you personally swear by.
Sunscreen regularly and never going to bed with makeup. It doesn't matter how tired I am or I've had a great party night, whatever it is, I will make sure that I remove makeup because you will not go to bed without brushing your teeth.
Yes.
So I always say keep it right there and do that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Perfect.
Perfect.
I think that's it. We've
Yes.
got everything.
Yes.
Awesome.
And I think it was absolutely amazing talking to you. I think more than information, you also gave us a lot of perspective, and which is also lacking in a lot of people out there because, like, you said in the starting of the episode that there is an overflow of information. And now it just makes it a little easier to navigate, in that ocean of information and misinformation. So thank you so much. And before we take your leave, is there one piece of advice, like what is that one piece of advice you would like to give the women out there when it comes to skincare and taking care of yourself?
I would say learn to be comfortable in your own skin, which means it's not just about our skincare, but it's also about your mental well-being and about who you are. So work on yourself on the inside and the outside, and just be the best version of you, not somebody else's version or somebody else, just the best of you.
Spoken like a doctor who's not here to promote, just here to share. That's so good.
Yeah.
And it was a great episode. Thank you guys for watching. Tag a friend who wants real skin talk and no fluff.
Yes.